Paralegals can be consistent, get online, start getting out there, and can start a wildly successful business with zero startup funds. I had no marketing budget. Content marketing was the one and only marketing strategy that I credit my entire business success towards. And I scaled my company to $500,000. That's the beauty of the service industry, the online virtual space. And so be excited about that. Hi, and welcome back to the Paralegals Should Be Millionaires podcast. It's Jacqueline Foster again, here to remind you that you were never meant to stay small. Today, I want to talk about organic social media marketing. Now, of course, I have done videos on this. I have content marketing videos. My course has I have a whole freaking course called the Freelance Paralegal Marketing Mastermind, all the things we talk about it in the roadmap. But I was just inspired today to get people out of the mentality with social media marketing and how it can be successful or not successful for the long haul. Help you to stay consistent with it with some pointers and tips that you're going to need to keep in mind. So let's talk about how to stay visible when it seems like no one is watching. 3 tips today to keep you on track for long-term results and growth. Now, just for a brief background, organic social media, content marketing, whatever you want to coin it, was the one and only marketing strategy that I credit my entire business success towards. In year 1, that's all I did. I hit a 6-figure business in that first year. 3 years later, that's still all I was doing was social media, being visible, getting out there, online networking in the social media realm. And I scaled my company to $500,000. And why I think that's important to mention is because so many paralegals get stuck coming into business thinking, I don't have ad spend. I don't have the money to invest in an expert or a website developer or this or that. All these big corporations have the money to do. And why that's important to mention is, hey, same. Totally the same. I had no marketing budget, especially when I was kicking off. If you'll remember from my book, I had $200 in my checking account. I did not have the money to dump into my company to get it off the ground. So that's phenomenal news, to be honest, because paralegals know that, hey, I can just be consistent, get online, start getting out there, and I can start a very wildly successful business with zero startup funds. That's the beauty of the service industry, the online virtual space. And so be excited about that, please, first and foremost. So all of this to say, this is why I want to talk about this topic today. It inspired me because I saw an old course taker of mine, or course alumni, if you will, from the roadmap, my Freelance Paralegal roadmap course, that made her first post today. And it was beautiful. It was absolutely phenomenal. It was a personal image and brand out of her that I had never seen before. And I was like, you are going to connect with your people by staying true to who you are and building this brand and speaking your truth. I got inspired and I'm like, I need to come down here. It's afternoon. I've been working all day, but I was like, before I clock out for the day, I need to quick record this video. So let's talk first and foremost, number 1 of my 3 tips, if you will. I don't really know what to call them. Number 1, organic marketing is not a shortcut. It is a strategy. What is the strategy, you might ask? The strategy is that you are building a memorable brand for the particular people that are out there in the world that need you to improve their lives. So in a world where we're all so caught up in our lives, we're all so caught up in money and business and work and kids and groceries and house chores and all the things. We are so caught up in our own lives. And I think a lot of people go to social media to dissociate from all that noise. I sure know I do. And I have to catch myself sometimes when I'm like, oh, things are stressful. And then I doom scroll from 7 p.m. until 2 in the morning on TikTok. It's okay. That's really what we're using social media for in our minds. Then we get caught up as service providers, right? So technically you're a service provider providing a service for an attorney, which is another business. So you are quote unquote B2B marketing. That's what you're doing. You're a business marketing to a business. But something to keep in mind is taking yourself out of that business and remembering that especially in the beginning when it's just you have no interest, or maybe you have no interest in ever scaling beyond yourself and your services as a paralegal. But when it's just you are the business's brand, which is phenomenal to leverage. Why that is because, as I stated, we're sitting in doom scrolling and we're stressed about life, we're this, we're that. I am very unlikely to stop scrolling on a business ad, even if it's not an ad, but it definitely looks like an ad. The logo's there, the jargon is being used, or it's an AI person or whatever. I'm very unlikely to stop scrolling and listen to that video all the way through. Again, why do we go into social media? My personal belief is that we use it to dissociate from life more than we don't. It's just my opinion, and I am correct. Just kidding. So all to say, when you can become the brand of your business, somebody out there that needs you to improve their lives, whatever they're dissociating from or whatever they're trying to not think about, or maybe they are online, so scrolling keywords, trying to find hacks, whether that's life hacks, business hacks, they're trying to find hacks. You are going to stop that scroll if you are marketing to the people who you need to be marketing to. So when we get into organic social media marketing, it is absolutely not just post and pray. Keep slapping stuff on LinkedIn, keep slapping stuff on TikTok, Instagram. It is a true strategy, getting intentional with your content, showing up consistently with your stories, with your insights and results that speak directly to the problems your ideal clients are trying to solve. So let's talk about that in practice, if you will. So first of all, I want to prompt you with this question. If you only had 5 people watching, would you still speak with purpose? Those 5 people that are watching could change your business. So that's the prompt I want you to think in your mind, that even if you feel, oh my gosh, I only get 200 views on my videos, go look at my TikTok account. That's usually where I land. Yeah, I'll have one take off at 10,000 views, but the majority of them are in that 200 view jail, if you will. Same thing with LinkedIn. I could have a post where I get 10,000 impressions, 50,000 impressions, and then I get a post that gets 900. It's just the way it is. But every time you post content, like I'm doing right now, if there are 5 people watching this right now, I am speaking to those 5 people, and I hope to God and pray to God that they find this video if that's what they need to find to help ignite their visibility out there and getting themselves out into the world so they can start a very lucrative paralegal entrepreneurship journey, right? So let's wrap up tip number 1. I'll get there. I will get there. Is that organic marketing is not a shortcut, it's a strategy. So with that in mind, make sure you're forming a strategy around your content to show up consistently for the 5 people out there that need to hear what you have to say. Speak to their problems, speak to their pain points in a very organic and natural way. Let them be drawn in and stop the scroll because you're speaking to that. And when I say strategy, okay, that means it's time over time. You can't post one thing and it not go well. Sometimes it might take off. I just had a paralegal student send me a screenshot. I actually cried for her because of how exciting. She got 90,000 impressions on one of her first posts, or one of her most recent business posts, right? 90,000 impressions on LinkedIn. How amazing. High five. But don't stop putting stuff out there and trying to stay consistent in whatever you can be consistent with, whether that's 2 times a week, 3 times a week, 1 time a week. Stay consistent to your message so that over time content builds on itself and they find you and they see all of your stuff and they start stalking you, social media stalking you, if you will. Think about if you're a TikTok user, an Instagram user, you stop and you find someone you like. For instance, I love following people who have chickens and they give constant chicken tending tips, right? If I find somebody and they give me such a good, valuable video, you better know that I'm going to their account and doom scrolling their entire account because I want to hear what else they have that I might not be thinking about, right? So keep in mind, that's the strategy, is that you're building content, you're building it with that personal brand, remembering that you have a one-up, not being a large corporate name, that you really can hone in on yourself being the brand, and you're going to be speaking to people in ways that B2B marketing strategies just cannot compete with. Again, a reminder, think about scrolling in the evening. Do you really want to watch a video that's got corporate background music? You know what I mean? We don't. We want to doom scroll. Okay. So that's tip number 1. Now, again, I had a hard time figuring out, I can't really call these tips, but just something to think about, which is number 2. You're not being ignored. They're just not your people. So this is on the flip side where, like the examples I shared, my paralegal student posting and getting a 90,000 impression, and she might be like, okay, I reached 90,000 people. Why didn't I get any leads from that? She did, which is a spoiler alert, which we celebrated together. Signed her first client that same week. But it's the flip of it. If you start seeing that your content is getting a lot of views, algorithms are annoying. We never know if they're going to get in front of the right people. We just have to keep trying, keep staying consistent, keep training our social media platforms to know who our ideal audience is, which I've talked about in prior videos. But if you're seeing all that and you're like, why am I not getting business from it? Okay, I had a video take off at 10,000 views. My book sales are lessening, 10,000 views. But that particular video wasn't really speaking to my ideal audience. Don't get me wrong, there was probably a handful, a couple hundred in there that were my ideal audience. My follower count went up as a result, but it didn't overnight soar my YouTube channel. It didn't overnight soar my book sales. It didn't overnight generate me 20 course purchasers. Okay, because chances are, and this is the game of social media, you're not always going to be in front of the right people. Which is why I always like to remind every paralegal that comes across me and we talk about marketing, do not aim to go viral. Opposite. I'm not saying complete opposite, meaning you're only aiming for 5 views. But when you make content and in your mind you say, I know out there I have 5 people to reach, your brain gets out of that, I need to be viral, I need to follow TikTok trends, I need to follow Instagram trends or LinkedIn trends or all the rules and this and that, and you become authentic, you become real, and you speak to the 5 people that need to hear your message, whatever that may be, in a video, a blog, an article, just a text post with maybe an image, whatever the post is in content marketing, you are aiming to reach those people. Why do you not want to go viral? I'll tell you right now. If I got cute, annoying, stupid dogs. And I say that with love. They're morons, but I love them. Okay. I have 3 giant dogs. If I post some videos of my dog Red, who's a bloodhound and went viral on TikTok so many times, 500,000 views, 700,000 views, like he has his own little TikTok account that I just do for fun when I'm bored or what have you, I'll post a video. If I were to put that on my dedicated pages, TikTok, Instagram, or LinkedIn, or Facebook, and it went viral, and all I got is my name there, and I gained 5,000 followers from that one video, which I have with Red on his account. Are those 5,000 followers actually interested in my legal staffing services? Are they actually interested in my paralegal coaching services? Probably not. Now I have a boatload of the wrong followers. I don't plan to continuously make content about my bloodhound on that page. Now my algorithm is so screwed up, I'm going to lose followers and be like, why am I following this paralegal person? I'm in the medical field or what have you, right? So that's my little story on why you do not want to try to go viral. You want to stay very niche to your content. Don't get me wrong, I like to play around with my content, express my personality, who I am, and I proceed with caution on that, and I try to make sure my hashtags are correct, and I always keep my LinkedIn connections very clean, who's in my connections list. Obviously, I can't control who follows me, but in my connections list on LinkedIn, it's all legal. So then I get to bring in funny little videos of my chickens or something just to give my personal side, because I don't always want to talk business. Sometimes I want to just express who I am. So there's a fine line between that. And that should take off a little bit of pressure from you to say, and I speak of this right directly in my book, Paralegals Should Be Millionaires. If you haven't had your copy yet, make sure you go grab it on Amazon. But I speak of it in my book that if you're sitting there thinking, I can't post online until I have 20,000 followers or even 500 followers, because I'm going to look like an idiot to all these people that are watching me, mom, dad, or not, your mom shouldn't pick on you for that. But friends, old coworkers, what have you out there outside in the world, if they see I have such a low follower count and my views are so low, they're going to be like, wow, what a poser. She's trying to be like Instagram famous or something, right? When we talk about that in the book under one of our fears of being seen trying, I can't remember what chapter it is, so you just got to grab the book and look at the contents. But all of that to say, if you stop trying to put yourself out there, first of all, you're never going to grow. Every influencer out there, everybody that has millions of followers started at exactly one, which is probably their mom. Second of all, if those people out there are judging you, I think how does the Southern like to say it? Just, we'll pray for them. We'll bless their heart. They don't understand how money flows in a digital world. They don't understand that follower count and likes don't equate to money. What equates to money is being relevant to the right audience and them sending you money in terms of your services or your course sales. So while I have $1,700 or 1,700 followers on TikTok, and I've grown to about 15,000 on LinkedIn. I think I have 20,000 followers now collectively, but my TikTok, for instance, is where I get a lot of my traffic to my website. If somebody looked at that and said, oh, why is she on TikTok? Why is she on YouTube? I get a lot of traffic from YouTube. I only have 100 to 400 views per video. Some will take off a little bit more than others. What they don't understand is that by putting out this content, I've sold a crap ton of my books. My book made it over the pond. By putting out this content, I did $30,000 in course sales in my first quarter alone. Keep that in mind and take to heart. I don't say that to brag. What I say is that large follower accounts don't always equate to money. It's a social hobby if you're not converting followers into paying clients. Of course, there are influencers out there that have brand deals and their follower count really matters, but we're not aiming to be influencers. We are aiming to provide professional services to professionals, lawyers that need it desperately. We are solving problems and making somebody else's lives better, not trying to influence them into buying the latest Stanley Cup design. And just throwing that out there, right? Random product. We are not influencers. So if you're worried about people out there thinking, oh, she just gets ignored online, she doesn't really do well, they're not your people. They're just the fluff that is the billions of users on the internet every single day, right? They're just not your people. So don't take that to heart, okay? Let's talk about number 3. And yes, I do have actually that was it. Oh, 4, yeah, no, I got number 3. Yes, I do have a little, if you see me on YouTube right now, I do have a cheat sheet here because I'm trying really hard to stay on point with my videos so I have less editing. It's my goal. Tip for you going forward. So let's just wrap up number 2 about you're not being ignored. They're just not your people. With this prompt, write it down, keep it in mind. You're not for everyone, and thank God for that. You just need to be for someone, okay? You need to be for someone. Focus on the 5 people. There's more, but the 5 people that you want to help desperately. And somebody put you on this earth to say there's 5 people out in the world and you need to reach them by being consistent with your message and trying to reach them and not everybody else. Okay. Number 3 principle to keep in mind with marketing yourself as a paralegal entrepreneur providing services is consistency builds credibility, not just followers. I just went on a huge rant about how follower count, if it's not equating to new leads, if you're not you're tracking your metrics and you're like, I keep growing followers, but my sales calls aren't going up, what have you. It's a social side gig, right? Or hobby, if you will. And I hate to say that harshly. But let's further reiterate this. Consistency builds credibility. Okay, so there's different types of people online in the social media world, and we can't compare ourselves to the general content influencers or creative content creators. They've given them names because content creation has become an actual job title. So now in this era, even if I'm a content creator for myself, no company is hiring me to make content. You're a content creator. There's different types of content creators. There's entertainment content creators. There is influencer type. I'm trying to influence people to buy products. You'll see I follow a few people that they could influence me to buy a golden, or I can't even describe anything. I would buy literally anything from them because they're so good at building the trust in their influencership, if you will, if that's a word. We are none of those things. We are credibility content creators. We are trying to establish expertise in our craft of paralegal support, legal staffing solutions, whatever your business is. Maybe you are a legal course creator. Maybe you're out there to mentor or train new paralegals, build new tech systems. You are building credibility with your content. Of course, your content can be entertaining. Of course, your content can be aesthetic. Of course, it can be creative, but stay true to the heart of your content, which is credibility establishment. You are establishing yourself as a respected professional in your niche. And now if you need help figuring out what your niche is, I deep dive into it in my book. If you don't want to read the whole book, go grab the course, grab both, Freelance Paralegal Roadmap. They're all linked below, because your niche is, people think it's just your practice area. It's actually one of 100 things that all come together to create your individual brand, niche, what you stand for. Definitely take the time to identify that before you go and pump too much into content and too much into names and branding and what have you. You really want to make sure you know what you're going out there as. But again, it's consistency that's building the credibility. They see you time over time talking about the same thing. If you're watching me right now, I'm not saying this to make myself sound famous, but if you're watching this right now and you've seen a lot of my other content and I'm a memorable name to you, or when you think of my name, you might think of, if you're a long-term follower of mine, you might think of myself as a paralegal entrepreneur coach or a paralegal movement advocate to get paralegals to a better professional place. You might have something in your mind that triggers when you think of me, because I've been consistent. Every time you've seen me, for the most part, unless I randomly decide to post a picture of my goat, you have seen me talk on this topic. And I know it's, oh my gosh, you start to get in your mind about how will I ever be able to come up with enough content for years and longevity on my niche. Trust that you will. Trust that you'll see things out in the universe. I was just watching a Shark Tank episode the other day. Or no, I was scrolling through TikTok and I saw a Shark Tank video. And the comment section, I don't know why I've been so obsessed with reading comments on TikTok videos. Some of them just crack me up. But I read them. And somebody said, when I love how on Shark Tank they put in the beginning like a disclaimer that sharks are investing their own money. These are real business deals that they're making. Like, the show is not paying for those deals. And they're like, come on. Yeah, it is, not directly, but they're getting paid how much dollars per episode to be there. What a wrong way of thinking. And in my mind, I'm like, I have an episode coming up where I talk about that exact mentality of saying, just because you're being paid to be there doesn't mean you're not also then putting that money that you got paid put out in the world. So the topic I want to cover, I'm not trying to go down a rabbit hole, is know what your worth is. Every minute, your minute is worth something. Your minutes are worth something. Your years of experience, your knowledge, what you can bring and attract into a law firm is worth something. Just like those sharks sitting in that room that make the show a crap ton of money are getting paid for their time. It's not pro bono work. All to say, just have faith that you will, I promise you will come up with content. Don't overwhelm yourself and try to put out episodes and 5 a week on YouTube or 5 blogs a week. Start small. Start with one theme that you want to cover. Write a blog about it. If you can, record a podcast episode about it, a YouTube video about it, and then break it down into bite-sized pieces. Boom, you probably have content for 2-3 weeks at this point. I'm personally slowing way down in my content this summer, especially. We just bought a pontoon. My kids are home through the summer. I like being outside. I don't want to constantly be recording after my work and my job at 𝐬𝐻𝐶. I like to not focus on that. So I'm like, I will get episodes out when I have time. That's what I'm at. But what I've learned to do more so is just repurpose and keep that one conversation going for a while. So go follow me on LinkedIn, on TikTok, all that's below as well. And you can watch how I'm taking this particular video right here, right now. It is end of June, 2025. Not sure when you're going to see this video, but I'm going to bite-size that down in smaller videos on that topic. I'm going to wait for comments to come through that I can further push more on the one topic. So all of that to say is that consistency builds credibility. Stay true to your topic. Know that content ideas will come to you naturally, especially if you're open to receiving them. I promise you they will. So showing up again and again, let's wrap this up here. Showing up again and again, even when it feels quiet, is what builds trust. There's somebody out there watching. Not everybody is an engager on social media. They're just watching, but that algorithm knows. When they stop scrolling, they know they were reading your post. I promise you that. Try it for a week. stop on the same person every single, don't engage, just stop and read it and see how that person will continuously pop up for you. The people who are quietly watching today may become the clients who pay you 6 months from now. And that's why I want you to remember that I built my business to a 6-figure revenue in the first year because of consistency. And then that consistency continued to snowball and get bigger and bigger, or avalanche, or whatever you would call it, get bigger, like us building a snowman, rolling the snow around every time. My son does it and he picks up dog poop. Hopefully you don't do that metaphorically, but building it over and over again, it's going to come back to you. What you do today might serve you 2 years down the road. Somebody might see an old article that pops up on Google that you wrote 2 years ago. Somebody might see an old video that just shows up on the For You page. I get likes from videos I recorded last winter or 2 winters ago. 2 years ago, they're still popping up as somebody stalked me or somebody came up on their For You page for whatever reason. The algorithm fed it. So remember, what you post today might generate you a client 6 months from now. So if you keep that mentality, or it might be 2 days. My first client came off the first blog post I ever posted within a week of posting it. So you don't know. Just keep posting, be consistent, be authentic, speaking to the 5 people, and your online presence is your storefront. So if you close shop every time things get quiet, you'll never build real momentum. I want you to remember that. Think about a company, a coffee shop, right? If they closed because they're like, man, these last 3 days, we just haven't been getting any business. So let's close for the rest of the week. Let's just not be open. And I am sitting here and I'm like, oh, you know what? I really would like to get some coffee and I really want to go treat myself. I actually might do that this afternoon. I'm kid free right now. My parents have them up for a 4th of July holiday. But I'm like, oh, I would like coffee. And then I get there and they're like, sorry, we're closed. And then I drive by and they're open randomly and they're not following their store hours, or they're like in and out and they're not consistent. And sometimes they talk about it and then they disappear. It's what are they doing? Are they going out of business? I'm not going to take the time out of my day to go hunt them down or what have you. So just remember, it's your storefront. Okay. Your online presence is your storefront. And then the final prompt for tip number 3 is don't let the silence trick you into quitting. The seeds are still growing even when it's slow. So write that down. Okay, so let's recap the 3 things I talked about today about how to stay visible when no one seems to be watching, and how to keep you on track for long-term results and growth in your organic marketing. Number 1, organic marketing is not a shortcut. It's a strategy. Prompt: if you only had 5 people watching your paralegal business grow, would you speak about it with purpose? Because those 5 people could change your business. I mean that with my whole heart. Number 2, I have these written wrong on here because I decided to scrap number 3. Number 2, you're not being ignored. They're just not your people. So remember, let me get to my page. Remember, you're not for everyone, and thank God for that. You just need to be for someone. Okay, keep that in mind. Number 3, and probably the most important, consistency builds credibility, not just empty followers. So don't let the silence trick you into quitting. The seeds are still growing even when it's okay. I hope today's episode was useful and just a chat session to talk about content marketing. And I'll be honest, I think we have to stay with the curve. Content marketing, social media, it's always changing. There's been conversation that long form content is coming back. People are getting a little bit fatigued from short bursts of content. They're wanting more like episode formats, things that they can sit and watch all the way through. So if you've made it to the end, give me a comment below with, I don't know, what you took away from this video. What was the best thing that you heard today that helped change your mindset about showing up online? Give me that comment or just say hello below. I love to see especially familiar faces in my comment section. If you would like to, or maybe you're brand new to the paralegal business or you're just starting, I have a free Freelance Paralegal Starter course. It's all linked below in the description. Otherwise, you can visit 𝐃𝐨𝐧'𝐭.com. You'll be able to find all my free courses. I also have a free Legal Course Creator Academy training if you would like to be interested, or if you are interested in starting that. And final reminder, do not forget to go grab Paralegals Should Be Millionaires. It's sold amazing. We hit 3 or 4 number 1 new release categories, which was awesome. Paralegals seem to be loving it, which has been such amazing feedback. I had some paralegals in my comments or in my DMs saying that like they cried in the opening and they we're crying on and off throughout it because it's so real to what a lot of paralegals experience and how we have the power to break free. So available in all formats, paperback, hardcover, Audible, Kindle. Go to Amazon. I'll link it below as well. But Amazon, Paralegals Should Be Millionaires by Jacqueline Foster. Very easy to find. And thank you again so very much for tuning in today to today's episode. And when I get time again, I will make another one. So stay tuned. Make sure to subscribe. And again, let me know the best thing you heard in this episode. Thanks so much. And until next time, have great days ahead of you.